Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to the Unshakable Soul Podcast. This is your podcast where we unravel the mysteries and magic of our divine human experience. And today I bring to you a monologue, episode 57, and I'm going to be talking about the embodied path to a woman's spiritual awakening. So that was a mouthful. And in this episode, I want to break down what embodied means, what spirituality means, and what path means, right? And a caveat here, I am basing this off of my own personal experience and what I've observed in the world thus far at 31 years old, and also the teachings that I have received along the way, okay? And I want to also offer you a couple practices that you can do to get yourself kind of reflecting on where you're at as a woman in your life on your own path, if you are even on a path or on someone else's path perhaps. So again, as always, take what serves you or resonates and leave the rest in the bucket, the whatever bucket. All right, so first, let's deconstruct a couple words in the mouthful that I just mentioned as the thematic. First, it's spirituality. And this word has really got my mind churning for a while. And I went to look at a definition that I feel resonates for me. So I'm going to share it here. Spiritual is an adjective form of the word spirit, which comes from the Latin word for breath, and means the thing that animates life. Spirituality involves the recognition of a feeling or sense or belief that there is something greater than myself, something more to being human than this five sensorial experience, that there's a greater whole of which we are part of. We're part of this divine and cosmic dance, let's say. So spirituality, in essence, for me anyways, is everyday life. And this is the path that I'm taking from the teachings of Tantra, which basically invites us to experience everything as divine, right? There's not something out there that is any better than you. Your human experiences, your emotions are divine, right? You are divine. You are the vessel through which the divine flows through you, okay? And this I find so cool because it really puts in the ownership and empowerment, feeling of empowerment of like, whoa, you mean that like I am God? Yes, you are. I am the goddess. Yes, I am, right? And when we learn through deep practices of contemplation, of devotional practices of cleansing our bodies, when we have a reverence for nature, when we really tune into this felt, embodied sensation and also belief that I am part of this whole, of the whole or whole of the greater, of greatness of life, then something within us shifts. Right? We start seeing people differently. Our perspective shifts. We start treating ourselves differently. Right? We start taking care of ourselves, of nature, of our neighbors, in a way that perhaps we wouldn't before. Okay? And the second piece is the embodiment piece. All right. So in the word embodied, there's body, and it refers exactly to that. So I see embodiment as this process of like kind of a homecoming, a process of coming back to the self. And it's not the little self, the ego self. You can see the little self as the self that is still crying for mommy and daddy, but now as an adult. Right? The self that's in patterns and behaviors that are just trying to call out for acceptance and love. But deep down, there's a deep wounding that they're not ready to feel or see even. So we cling on to things. There's this fear factor in place. We cling on, we're attached, and it creates so much suffering. Okay, and this disembodied, let's say, way of living forces us into our minds, right? That's why we have so much anxiety. Anxiety, I see it as a new endemic. Just we're so stressed, we're so disconnected from our own bodies. We cannot be with any sensation in our bodies. We don't have time to be with our emotions, right? To heal, to process things, because everything's so quick. And a caveat, I am speaking mostly to the first world countries here, okay? So this embodiment is this deep rooting in ourselves, in our bodies, in the present moment, right? Where truth lies. And to feel the essence of our being, the aliveness, the rawness, everything that's coming up, the pleasant and the unpleasant. Okay, this embodiment also connects us to earth. This connection to the mother, the great mother that holds us, that nourishes us. Right? We're on this path of embodiment and spiritual awakening. We come back to Mother Earth to self-soothe, to resource ourselves, to replenish our energy that's been depleted by so much overgiving, people pleasing, denying our own needs for a lot of us women. Okay. So it's a deeper connection to life and a deeper acceptance of life. There's no resistance. There's no suppression. There's no denial. It's just, can I be here with what is? Okay? And here are a few ways that our society and that we've been taught to suppress our embodiment or to be in our minds. Okay, so for example, our culture of all these restrictive diets. You should be eating paleo. Oh no, now it's vegan. No, now it's so only meat. No dairy, low fat, high fat. Like we're so confused. Instead of listening into our bodies and actually feeling, well, what feels good for me? We listen to everything else. Also for exercise, working out like a man, trying to keep the same consistent routine, not actually listening to our bodies and feeling into, well, what type of movement would feel supportive right now, today? Remembering the feminine body and our menstrual cycles run on a 28-ish day cycle instead of the 24-hour male testosterone cycle. Okay? This obsession, this reliance on consumerism, right? So it fixates us on objects of worship, and it's not really soul fulfilling usually. So this is when you see people consuming and filling themselves up with things, but deep down there's a sense of, I'm actually not fulfilled. We always want more. We can't seem to fill the void within us. Okay, another way that society denies us of our embodiment is to not allow us space, or we don't feel we have the space to feel. Right? We don't allow ourselves this. It has not been revered, the feminine intuition, nor has emotional expression been revered. Right? It's a lot on masculine logic, sensical solutions. So a lot of us have denied feelings, suppressed emotions, and untapped intuition that we all have in our bodies. And the last thing I want to mention in terms of how we've been denied our embodiment is ignoring our connection to Earth, to her rhythms, to her cycles. Okay, so if we can see our physical bodies as an extension of Earth, remembering that we are made up of the 5 elements, air, water, fire, space, earth, then we're no different than earth. We too go through seasons, just like we're connected to the moon. A lot of our cycles are in tune with the moon. And sometimes we're so dysregulated that we're completely out of tune with the moon. But a woman in her full health is in tune and in sync with the moon. Right? And she doesn't experience any abnormal pains or discomfort. Right? But if we ignore our connection to earth, to nature, then we're denying ourselves of the very divinity of our human experience, our very connection to all of creation. So again, this is a coming home. The embodiment piece is a coming home, and the realization that we are souls having a human experience. And I know this is not the first time you'll probably be hearing this, but it has to become, I hope, a felt experience for you. In those moments, perhaps at the sunrise, or you're walking in nature, or you're seeing your child smile, there's just something there. You're hearing the howling in the trees. There's something there that's telling you, there, I'm part of this web called life. Okay. And the third piece, the path piece, there are many paths. There are many paths we can take, right? There's even many spiritual paths we can take, many teachings. And it's not to say one is better than the other, right? We're all walking a path, and we can walk multiple in a lifetime, okay? And each path has its purpose. And the important piece I want to mention is, are you walking your path? Or a path that feels aligned and true and resonates for you? Because a lot of times we find ourselves in situations in our lives that we're actually walking our parents' paths, walking the path we thought they'd want for us. We want to, again, prove ourselves perhaps to them or to the society, proving our worth or our achievements, following a certain path. And we want their approval. Okay? Versus the conscious choice of choosing or carving your own path. Right? So I have personally chosen the tantric path. Okay? And in the tantric path, I have space to create my own practices, to live my life in a way that feels soul nourishing. And yes, Tantra Yoga has certain guidelines and philosophies, but then it's ultimately up to me, well, what do I want to implement into my day-to-day life? Right? And this could change. This can change depending on what phase of life you're in. Okay, so the essence here is, I'm on a path. Is this path mine? Is it borrowed? Is it someone else's path? How do I feel on the path I'm on right now? Right? Is it a path that brings me joy and fulfillment, or does it bring me constriction and stress? Again, there's good stress and there's unnecessary stress. Let's put it that way. Stress is inevitable. But am I experiencing, I would say, like, the good stress would be like this. I'm on my edge of my comfort zone, like I'm expanding. That's for me like this, like, growth edge, expansionary, and nervous system recalibration to a next level state of receptivity for what is coming my way now that I'm up leveling myself. Right? That kind of stress is like, oh my gosh. Right? I kind of see it as excitement. Like, oh my God. Okay? And on the path, are we always just looking for the next thing to achieve? As humans, we're quite curious, right? But this is the tricky part. Are we able to stay present and appreciate and live the now? The now. Because that's really all we have. I know it's easier said than done. And I raise my hand to say I'm the first person to be like, Sophia, gently remind her, breathe, listen to the birds, you know. And even if you're on the path that's the most soul-fulfilling, there can be a tendency to always be thinking ahead. And it's great to have your vision set, right, on something that feels so aligned and pulls you forward. There's also keeping your feet grounded. And that's something I'm continuously learning every day. Keeping my feet grounding, earthing, connecting to the trees, reminding me that I'm here on earth. I have a purpose. And it's not about racing to the finish line. There's no finish line. We're all going to the grave. It's about how can I live the most alive I can in my body that I'm borrowing right now for this lifetime. How can I be of service? What gifts do I have to share? So for path, I love the analogy, the river is running to the ocean. There's many paths, many rivers, and they're all going to the same ocean. And for me, the ocean is like oneness. I see it as just like we're all swimming in this ocean. We're doing the best we can. Right? Okay. So yeah, for me, this has been the essence of my sojourn here. This coming home to self, always coming home to self as a person that always was questioning and thinking, I don't belong here. It's like I belong somewhere. I kind of feel like a black sheep. And I realized in the past years, I'm like, frig, like, home is here. Home is here. Like, this is my home. My first home is Earth. So that's like the reconnection to Earth. First teacher is my mother, my biological mother. Right? Now Earth, an extension of Earth is my body. So I'm nourishing my body. I'm giving it what it needs. Right? This sojourn is also just creating this environment where you feel so connected to life and to love. So this is when you start discerning what environments you're in. Are the people you're surrounding yourself inspiring you to continue growing and learning more about what it means to live and love? Or is it completely draining your energy? To live embodied for me means feeling the movement of my own innate pulse. Perfect timing, rhythm and flow of my breath, of my song, of my dance, and allowing it to guide me. My own body wisdom. And why do I mention this? This is not unique to me. A lot of women in the first world society are so disconnected from their bodies. They're essentially cut off. They cut themselves off from their power, which is essentially as creative beings. We are the bridge between worlds. We host within us a womb space that houses infinite possibilities for creation. And no, this is not only a physical baby. This could be a project. It could be an idea, a vision for a new world. We have that potential in us. We have these wisdom centers, third eye, vision, heart center, wisdom, womb, creative portal. We have the ability to manifest heaven on earth. And we have the ability to destroy it. Yeah. And the health of our earth and the health of humanity, if I could put it that way, is dependent on women rising. That's why we're seeing more and more and more people like me and other soul sisters that are slowly sharing the message. Women, wake up. You're not meant to fit in a box. You're not meant to be depleted of energy. You're not meant to feel as though life is a burden. You're not meant to serve everybody else before yourself. You're not meant to follow one linear highway. You're not meant to bottle in your emotions, stay small. You're not meant to shut up. We're meant to feel alive, to allow our emotions to flow, to release what has been suppressed. We deserve it. It's our innate right. It's our birthright to feel so alive in our bodies, to reconnect with our sensuality, our sexuality, our joie de vivre, our radiance. The thing is that we're so stressed and we live in survival mode. No woman thrives in survival mode. We are of no service to humanity, to anybody in survival mode. And we will continue destroying our planet if women continue accepting the very society that has brought us up to think that we should act a certain way, look a certain way, do certain things, and basically stay on this hamster wheel until we rot away. So our job as women in this embodied path of spiritual awakening is to reclaim our energy. It's to set our boundaries. It's to see our own worth, not in our doings, but in who we are. Because our power truly lies in our presence. And what is presence but energy? So in order to cultivate your energy and your presence, to become truly a magnet for anything you desire, not only that, to inspire divine creativity to flow through you, to heal not only yourself but humanity. It requires a rewiring of your thoughts and beliefs that have ruled your life until now. It requires a recalibration of your nervous system that's probably operating on a sympathetic activation, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And it requires a reigniting of your fire. And what do I mean about that? This fire for life, this flame, this passion, this desire to eat life whole, not in a way that's like angry, but in a way that is just to enjoy this human experience. Yeah. But before we get to that, we have to lift Pandora's box and look at all the crap that we've not been willing to see, feel, and heal. Emptying out before we fill up. That's how it works. Empty out before we fill up. And we're not filling up with the same thing. We're filling up with new thoughts, beliefs that support us, with perhaps new people that are entering into our lives. We're not afraid to let go of those people that perhaps served us before. We learned something about ourselves with them through their presence, and we're not afraid to let them go. Right? And most importantly, we allow ourselves the space and time to fill our own cups. However that looks like for you, and that could change from day to day, from week to week, from month to month. Right? It could be dancing. It could be hanging out with your girlfriends. It could be going to your secluded cabin in the woods. It could be going on retreat for yourself. On a massage, having a bath. So simple. Or a candlelight dinner with yourself. Whatever it is that you need. Offer to yourself. And this is what tends to happen that I'm seeing in women that are in my space. It's inability to some degree to ask for help, this distorted belief that you need to do it all, that you're kind of the CEO, the manager. And in essence, yes, you are the co-creatress of your life. You're co-creating with God, the divine source, creator, whomever you want to use as a name. But you're also humble enough to know that you cannot do it yourself. You know that you have a space, a role to play in aligning the intention you have with your thoughts, with your words, and with your actions. So it's not about passively just doing nothing. There's a place for being receptive, right? And there's a place to respond to the opportunities and the downloads coming in, right? But there's also a place where you're going to realize, whoa, like, I don't need to do this alone. I am not alone, first of all. I have support. I have sisterhood. I have a mentor, a coach. I have my husband. I have my teacher, my grandma, or the woman down the road that I really like to talk to, whomever it is, right? I have goddesses and God, the divine. I have Mother Nature, like all these resources that we can use to support us in creating what we truly desire for ourselves in our lives. Okay. Yeah. And at the root of all of this embodied path of awakening is truly a woman's capacity to feel safe in her body. That is probably the groundwork that you will do. And it's definitely number one if you work with me. Reconnecting with your body. Right? Because if a woman doesn't feel safe in her body, she won't want to speak up. She won't want to take time for herself. She won't be deserving or feel worthy of even filling her own cup. Her energy will completely drain out, resulting in burnout, depression, forms of cancer as well, from this chronic stress plus acute stress from just the lifestyle a lot of us live. Okay, so she needs to create an environment within and outside of her that is conducive for her to exhale, lean back, and peel back the layers. Peel back the layers. And when I mean peel back the layers, it's also taking off the masks. You thought you were the mother? Nope. You thought you were the good girl? Nope. You thought you were the sister, the wife, blah, 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 blah. All these identities we tend to cling on to. Right? Who are you at the core, the essence? You don't need to answer that now. But there are moments when you can feel into the answer. When you realize I am part of something bigger. I am part of this magic that is being woven in every bird I hear singing, in every whisper I hear through the trees, in every smile from a neighbor, in the touch of my hand on my own skin. Right? And the flowers that are blossoming. To be a woman is a gift. We're not meant to be man, woman. We're meant to honor ourselves as women. Yeah. So with all this work of creating safety for yourself and allowing yourself space to feel, to heal past wounds and traumas that have left marks on your heart and your soul, and to activate your fire, that passion, that the courage it takes to take action on your path, the boundaries come in place, right? So necessary. Because you're going to start saying no to things. that deplete you, that don't support the woman you are becoming. So the embodied path can feel lonely at the beginning, right? As you're stripping back the layers and you're seeing all the falsities and the lies, both that you house within yourself that you've been living, but also in others. And I want to say that this is normal, this is okay. But the more you align with the truth of who you are, with the woman that you are embodying, with the woman you're remembering that you are, wild, sensual, alive, creative, inspired, deeply connected to earth, you are going to be attracting your community of soul sisters. It's inevitable. But you have to allow yourself to be seen in that way. And that's perhaps the hardest part, and where fear gets a lot of us. It's fear of being seen, not really in my shadows, but in my light. The fear of losing potential love and connection when I actually show up in my raw, authentic self. When I get kind of wild. When I start wearing hats because I want to wear hats. When I start wearing that dress because it makes me feel sexy. Right? We're kind of afraid of what people will think of us. And this is crunchy. So it's good to feel the crunch. It means you're expanding past your capacity, past that comfort. And we have to realize on our journey that your comfort zone has served you, but that the fear of the staying the same is greater than the fear of the unknown. This is big. Right? The pain, the deep, deep, unfulfilling void inside of you is greater and sucking you in greater in the comfort zone than it is in the unknown. Yeah. Because if we don't see the difference, if we don't feel as though the suffering will be lessened in the unknown, then we'll stay continuously in a perpetual cycle of self-abandonment and, familiar, but deeply unfulfilling. So this requires us to embrace the unknown with certainty, which sounds bizarre. So that when you're stepping off the abyss, that you're full certainty that you're building your wings on the way down. Full certainty you have all the elements that you're weaving as I speak, in your hands, in your body, in your heart, to create that boat, the wings, to allow life to support you. You know you're deeply supported because you trust. But you will not trust life if you do not trust yourself. And how do we build trust? Reconnecting with our bodies and creating that inner safety. Okay. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, open mouth. So I want to offer right now about 5 little suggestions from where we can start, right? To call yourself back into your body, because that's number 1, right? On this embodied path to a woman's spiritual awakening, number 1, connect to body. So there's 5 little steps that I'll suggest. So, first of all, notice when you're in survival mode. So notice when you get triggered. Notice when you're in fear. Notice when basically you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Notice when you're in your mind, confused, anxious, right? You can't sleep properly. You can't make decisions. Get curious. What voices are in there? We all have an inner critic. What are they telling you? What stories are being played over and over again? Okay, so this is the mind work. Just notice how often you're in here and what's going on. Okay. Number 2 is feel and release. Okay. So here the invitation is to take space to process your emotions. Process and feel and experience what is coming up, what is real right now. If you feel tears are coming up because you're having an experience that are bringing up tears, take space. Create that space for yourself. Connect with your body. Ground yourself. Shake it out. Move it out. Maybe you're sitting down. Plant your feet on the ground. Sometimes when I'm having those moments and I'm in nature, I sit down next to a tree. If you're in a working environment, go to the bathroom. Process. Okay. You can even process in your cubicle or in your right where you are, because that vulnerability that you're showing not only to yourself, you're showing to others, and that's actually offering them to be vulnerable. And vulnerability creates intimate, authentic connection. Not easy, but necessary. Use breath. In through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Use sound. Use touch. So sometimes I just hold myself like this. And I can add affirmations. You're safe here, my love. Because when we're in a stress response, when we're in survival mode, we do not feel safe, or our body is perceiving a threat, a danger. And it happens so quickly. So all these steps is take the time to notice them, to catch yourself. Get really curious about what's going on in your mind and your body. Use movement. Number 3 is create a safe space for yourself. Okay, so what environment can you create in your house where you can retreat to, where you can process these experiences from your day, from in the month, in the year. You can do journaling there. You can meditate, you can move, you can dance, you can cry, you can yell. What is a space that you have in your house that you can do this in? And if you don't, then I'd offer nature. A spot in nature where you feel resonates with your soul, where you feel you can fully be yourself and process anything going through. Number 4 is nourish. Give yourself what you need. And these are not really steps in order. They can be in different orders, but they're just suggestions on this reconnection with yourself, coming back to you, back to your truth, back into your body. Nourishing yourself is filling your own cup. And again, that could look different day by day, week by week, month by month, moment by moment. Maybe at one point you're like, I need space. She needs space to breathe. Lots of people here. Lots going on. Maybe you need a hug. Maybe you need a bath. A good dance. A walk in nature. A massage. A healthy cooked meal in peace and quiet. Listening to the birds. What is it that's going to nourish you right now? And number 5 is ask for support. Again, I see this a lot, and I'm going to raise my hand. The hyper-independent woman, the woman that thinks she can do it all, that's carrying has so many things, the multitasking woman. Some people see it as the super mom. I kind of go like, right? Just completely burned out. Ask for support. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. Right? And if you have this beautiful idea, there's something that's coming from within, that's authentic, that wants to come out, know that you can birth it with other people. You can ask for support. You're not meant to walk this path alone. Yes, you take self-responsibility for your actions, your thoughts, your words, your emotions. But you also have a web of support, whether that's your ancestors, your spirit guides, the moon, Mother Nature, a friend, a confidant, a mentor, a coach, a parent perhaps, soul sisters, a specific community of people, your partner, right? Ask for help. And this can be hard for a lot. So feel into the ones that feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, oh, no. Nourishing myself, no. Or like perhaps it's like, oh, I'd like to, but ... Just feel into the resistance. This is where the gold lies. And slowly start offering yourself that space, that time, that devotion to your own self-care, to your own love, to your own cup that you're filling, let's say, with love, care, and kindness, versus always pouring it out there, because that's typically what women do. And just get really curious of when you're operating in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode. And you'll know this if you're in your mind, if your breathing is super shallow, maybe your palms are sweaty, right? This frantic kind of heady energy. You don't feel grounded. I see like the chicken with the head cut off. You're just like kind of running around, trying to do a bunch of things at the same time. Right? What is the rush? What is the fear? What is driving this? What is behind it? What's the motive behind this action you're taking? And of course, sprinkle some grace, because this is not an easy process. I'm still in my process. I'm way better than I was 4 years ago. Bless her soul. But it's a continuous work in progress. And in celebrating our wins, it's how we have positive references that we can build on. Versus going to the negative of like, oh my gosh, well, I didn't take time for myself today, so like I'm a bad person. It's too easy to say that. So start small. What is one practice that you're going to add in your day-to-day life that's going to connect you with your body? And commit to it. Not for me, not for mom or dad, for you. And just see what comes up. See how you feel after. All right. So that was it for today. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to go deeper, I offer one-on-one private mentorships. I have a 4-week container and an 8-week container that are open for right now. We're April 24th. I have 2 spots open for May. So I have 2 clients per month, one-on-one clients. So if you would like to come in and we can look at what would a self-care practice look like for you, then I'd love to chat with you. So I'll leave in the description of this episode links to the application form and also to my website where you can find more information on that. I also have a group program that is currently underway. It's 3 months. It's called Phoenix Rising. I perhaps will give it again in the fall. If not, I'm going to have another program come in the fall of 2025. So I'd love to see you in any capacity, or else keep on listening to my podcast. So grateful that you are here. I upload episodes every week. All right, love. Take care and thank you.